Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lifeboat. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and I'm going to be the host of this shindig. So, you saw the thumbnail, right? At least I hope you saw the thumbnail. It should have been a thumbnail of my friend, A-Ayron, from Growing Up in Scientology, who is, as you know, far more than just a friend of the Lifeboat, right? This has been a collaboration that, well, first of all, this has been a collaboration that has been fruitful on both sides of the aisle. You know what? We get a lot of comments. We get a lot of views when the two of us get together, which is really cool. I think we have a good chemistry on camera. Aaron and I, Aaron and I, get along well, and I think that, as much as we come from two really bizarre and very, very different worlds, I think that there's quite a bit of common ground actually in the missions and everything else. But as you know, Q, we had put together a care package for Q, and I've got a letter I'm going to read. I don't know if I'll read it on tonight's Lifeboat or whether or not I will read it tomorrow, but it is coming up. And when we did, I said the person that donates the most amount of money to that, we are going to give the Lifeboat hat. And somebody who came over from Growing Up in Scientology said, I don't think I've been here long enough to take that and feel good about it, which I think is kind of a really cool sentiment, right? It says a lot about who the crew that's coming over here from Growing Up in Scientology were in the first place. So this remained as part of the original. There were two of these hats, and one we were giving away. And the person said, no, keep that in-house. I thought that was very, very, very cool. We are going to be sending that hat to A-Ayron of Growing Up in Scientology. We are keeping our collaboration going. And, you know, the other night they made a point of making me an official honorary SPTV member, which I thought was a really big deal. Honestly, I did, because I feel like it's a very, very cool fight. It really is. I mean, you know, these are a group of people that spend ungodly amounts of money to destroy people's lives, right? If you're going to pick an enemy, you may as well pick a good one, right? But what they do to families is like what drugs do to families. I swear to God, if you stand back and you look at what Scientology does to a family, it will remind you so much of what somebody addicted to crack will do to a family, or somebody addicted to heroin will do to a family. I was that way. I really was. When you are in the cult of drug, nothing is more important than the cult of drug, and you will give up everything for it, and you will change your life for it, and you will hate your family for it, and you will walk away from your family. You will divorce the people that you said you would spend the rest of your life with, right? It's a very, very similar type of thing. So we have extended the official courtesy of making A-Ayron a captain officially here on the Lifeboat. Now, there have been very few people to sit in the captain's chair. Heather Joy has done it. Mark Wages has done it, and I've done it myself. And we've had guests who have come on at the same time. But for someone to actually to assume the captain's chair has only been 3 people. And anyone who sits in the chair is a captain while sitting in the chair. But technically, I think the only really official 2 captains of the boat have been who called themselves captains have been myself and Mark. And Mark, runs a very large channel of his own right. This would be the new official other captain here at the Lifeboat. And it's fun because this will piss off a whole lot of people, right? Which is fantastic because pissing people off is not always such a bad thing, especially when they're spending a pretty decent amount of time trying to piss you off. As I said, this is a group of enemies that are a little bit more dedicated than the usual enemies. Church of Scientology's had a pretty hefty amount of practice in trying to make people upset with things they say about them and such. I'll be really honest with you, people. There's some new crew members on the Lifeboat who have reached out and said, "Oh man, do you know the things that people are saying about you and this and that?" The old crew of the Lifeboat has been through this one a bunch of times. But saying that, I will say this, that the crew that has come over from Growing Up in Scientology has been one of the most faithful groups of people I've ever seen in my life. I've gotten emails from people that say, you know what, you might want to watch out for so-and-so, or you might want to keep an eye out on so-and-so. And there's just been so many people who write from Jump Street. Obviously, I've been down this road before with a different set of haters, but this will be really interesting to see which direction this actually draws more hate. Is it going to be the people that hate growing up in Scientology, or the people who hate the lifeboat? Because there's a synergy between those haters, the same way that there's a synergy between the lifeboat and A-Ayron's channel. It's true. The people rallying against us are all linking up as well. They're going out and finding anybody they can. And you know what, people? Don't let the small crap. And I'm preaching to the choir, because when things like this happens. Question: what is your thoughts on Narcanon? This is a great question. And you know what? I answered this once, Nellbot, but I did not. I don't know that I've ever answered it with a good crowd here. So let's talk about this. This is a really good question. And if this question has taken you by surprise, and you don't know what this is a program by Scientology that was written by L. Ron Hubbard. For a way to get someone out of the drug life and to cleanse their body of all of the trash that we've put in it. I'm an advocate of doing any kind of a cleanse to get stuff out of your body, unless, of course, that cleanse is dangerous. And this program that they do through Scientology, part of it requires that you spend a great deal of time in saunas, right? Where they're going to raise the temperature really, really hot. And you're just going to sit in a wooden box and sweat your nards off while they give you ungodly amounts of niacin. The amount of niacin that anybody with a medical degree would go, you're doing what? You can't take that much niacin. The hell is wrong with you? You don't take that much niacin. I think the program is dangerous as hell, and it has proven itself dangerous as hell, and has taken a lot of heat for it over the years. I won't tell you what the dispensation of all that heat is, because I honestly don't know how it finished. But I remember that there was some flack from Oklahoma, and there were some other states that did what they could to kick it out of. I don't know how those all panned out, but nor do I care much. What I will say is this: there are a ton of people who have been helped by it, and it shows a great deal about when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And it doesn't matter who is trying to provide that kind of help. If people are ready, then you can put them through the most bizarre and ridiculous crap in the entire world. And the fact that you're giving them structure of any kind, the fact that you're giving them a roadmap, is very often enough to get people the rest of the way there. And I think what they also had was the added benefit of a pretty strong network of people that have been brainwashing people for a really long time, right? I mean, that's what cults are. And, Scientology is as good as anybody at interpersonal communication among their members, right? So there's that draw, there's that feel of, well, these people can fix everything anyway, right? The people who are buying into any kind of ideology start to believe that this is something that can completely change my life. So if you put some kind of a rehabilitation program or anything like that alongside of what you're doing, I think that the odds that you're going to see some results are good. They also saw some tragedy. There's been some other really, really rugged things that have happened because of that program. And I think there's not even much of it left. I don't think that there's a lot of people who are still sitting in wood boxes for 5, 6, 8 hours at a time. They take these unbelievable marathon saunas where they're just pounding water and there are people who do this on the street having nothing to do with Scientology. There's a lot of people that believe that sweating out the impurities from when you did drugs is a solid thing to do. If you're going to do that, talk to a friggin' doctor. Don't go through some wackadoodle, kind of a rehab program. If you are going to put yourself in that kind of an environment where you're going to be risking your life, I mean, let's keep it real. When you start getting up into 150 or 160 degree temperatures, and you're just going to sit in there and sort of sweat yourself out, I would not do that without being in the care of a doctor. That's me. That's just one guy's opinion. But On that, I think it's voodoo. I think it's hocus pocus, and I don't think the guy was a doctor. I don't think he should have been trying to. If I came up with a program of detox that was heavy on medical advice, I'd be scared crapless if anybody listened to me. That's not what I do. I can talk to you about the mental end of it, but taking risks with your body for the sake of detox is frightening. And there were a lot of people for a while. It became very popular to do those liquid cleanses, and there were a lot of addicts that were doing that as well. People drinking for 2 solid weeks, all they do is cayenne pepper and maple syrup. I think that was a big one that was catching on for a while for these cleanses. And you know what, man? Talk to your doctor. That's the best bet. Talk to somebody that has spent a lifetime studying the mechanism that is our body, and then maybe make that decision going forward. I don't think it's a good one. Anyone who hates the lifeboat or A-Ayron is guilty of high crimes. I think, that's about as solid a comment as you're going to get right there. And I have to agree with that 100%. High crimes and the occasional misdemeanor thrown in just for good luck. But while they're there, hello, Shadow Guardian, good to see you. But you know what? It's a very cool thing when dirtbags do what they do, and the people that they're trying to separate double down. I really had a fantastic conversation yesterday with A-Ayron, and yeah, it's just what they're hoping is to throw enough dirt in both people's direction that the synergy that's taking place right now, that's benefiting both parties, will separate. And boy, they just have not had that. They haven't really had any luck with that. We have been, this, if nothing else, this has made us closer, which probably was not what they were shooting for. But Goldie's here. Happy belated birthday, Goldie. Goldie's birthday was yesterday. On October 8th, 2009, 2 people die and more than a dozen others are hospitalized following a botched sweat lodge ceremony at a retreat run by a motivational speaker near Sedona, Arizona. I want to tell you something about that. When that happened, okay, in 2009, this was before I went away to federal prison for bank robbery, and these sweat lodge things that he was talking about were becoming huge. And if you go back and look at the incident that he's talking about, the one that happened in Sedona, it looked like the size of the sweat lodge that these people built, how big this was and what they were doing. It was, without a shadow of a doubt, a very, very bad idea. And at the same time, you had people bailing on things like the fire walk that is put on by Tony Robbins and Robbins Institute. There was a lawsuit that popped up because of the firewalk. As I've told people here, I've done the firewalk experience a bunch of times, and it's like anything else. There are people. If you go out of your way to do anything to help people or do anything else, there are people who are perched right on the side, waiting to pounce on anything. And those kind of sweat lodge stuff, even if it works, right? Even if you have it to a science, there's somebody that's just waiting to see if they can't take a shot on that. Goldie, happy birthday again, everybody. If you missed Goldie's birthday yesterday, Goldie turned 29 again. And you gotta love the 29 holding pattern. I'm sticking with it. That is the age at which I think I have reached my happy medium. But the first time A-Ayron donned that captain's hat, I went, that dude, right? That dude looks good in a captain's hat. And I realized he was only doing it for a good swipe at old LRH. If you guys have never seen the videos of those creepy bastards turning and giving the former head of the church a salute, you really ought to check it out, honestly. I mean, here's the thing. There's always that creepy element to anything that people take dogma a little bit too far, even if it's any church. When that dogma starts getting pushed a little bit too far, it gets downright creepy. But if you've never seen the videos of that whole little army of people turning to toss a salute at the painting of LRH, and they spit out the initials really quickly, right? Like a salute or a cheer or something. LRH, hooray, hoorah, whatever. It's creepy as crap. It really is. There's also a bunch of new shorts out with old Tom Cruise in it, because he's just released this new movie that's tanking, by the way, which is funny because it's made a crap load of money. But they're saying that in order for it to have become profitable, it had to hit a certain level, and it's not hitting it. And one of the theories is starting to be that people are no longer successfully separating Tom Cruise, the actor, from Tom Cruise, the Scientologist. There's what's going on with that church is becoming so much news that I think it's starting to damage the careers of some cats, Tom Cruise in particular. But he's been doing a bunch of interviews that have all ended up on shorts. They're probably popping up on your feed. They're everywhere. But he talks about jumping a bike off a cliff. There's about 4 other. But look at this cat when he's talking. Right. I remember when this actor was fairly normal. Right. And I think I told you, he and I are born on the same day. Creepy. But get a look at old T. Cruz, because he's to the point now where, honestly, when you look at him, he's getting that look. Jilbo Baggins. I love that name, Jilbo. That's fantastic. I grew up in a really small town. There was a guy that they called Bilbo from a very, very early when I was really, really young. Like I didn't understand the reference. I was so young I didn't realize there was a Lord of the Rings or anything. But we had a Bilbo that I grew up with. But that's funny, Jilbo. Okay. I think that's absolutely awesome. I really do. All right, people. So this is going to be a short one because I've got to prepare for another video that I'm doing later. But amidst all of the shouting and the hubbub and the official extending the invitation for those of us over here in the lifeboat to be SPTV honorary members. We have an honorary captain here on the lifeboat in A-Ayron from growing up in Scientology. Aaron, thanks for all you have done for the boat and continue to do for the boat. The growth here has been fantastic, and we're getting just a group of people that I don't know. Honestly, I've never seen people get here and assimilate quicker and just be part of the group instantly and feel like 3 days later you start looking around feeling like they've been here for for the duration. Everybody has just come in has been absolutely phenomenal, and it's cool to grow, but it's so much better if the people that you're bringing in just seem to instantly get along with one another and instantly understand, because what we're doing here is so different. I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but it really is. This is a very, very different platform. This is a very different approach to what we do, and there's almost as many approaches as there are people who are struggling with this disease. But I think that what we've put together here, and I'm not, by the way, if it sounds like I'm doing a freaking victory lap, I do the smallest part of this job. I won't say I don't work the hardest, because I do, but I promise you, there's nobody working harder at the lifeboat than Captain Tommy, right? Heather being a close second. But we didn't do this. Neither did Mark. Mark didn't have a hand in this either. We were going to make videos, and then it just really, really changed. It was going to just be kind of like an informational video thing, and you guys got a hold of it and turned it into this. So when I'm bragging about the lifeboat, I'm bragging about the fact that there really is a place for addicts where you are not going to be judged for anything, right? For anything having to do with your past and your drug use or your religion or your, what you look like, who you want to sleep with, who you want to pray to. Right, none of those things. What we've done here is unique as crap. It really is, and it's you people, right, that did this. I probably don't get a chance to thank the crew often enough for for what you guys have built here, because it's friggin' amazing. It really is, and I am honored to beat hell that I got the coolest seat in the house, right? And occasionally I even get to don the captain's hat. I don't bust it out as often as I used to. I definitely don't bust it out as often as I used to. I used to do it every day, but it just brings on so much unwanted crap. But it's definitely a symbol, and we are sending one of our official symbols and one of the only two in existence. We are going to be sending that over to Growing Up in Scientology for all they have done to take the lifeboat and sort of kick it into a direction that we're pretty damn happy with. ZW, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Lots and lot of... Imagine welcoming community OSA. Come on out. You will be welcomed. Lots of love out here. And no one will yell and scream at you. We promise. We keep the yelling and the screaming to a freaking minimum around the lifeboat. On that, you have my word. But as I said, we're going to keep this one. We're going to keep this one really, really quick. I love the OSA. The OSA stuff's coming out, right? If they're not angry, we'll get them there. M. Hunt, good to see you, brother. Hey, Lady Fiona Crispin, always a pleasure to have Lady Crispin here. She's did as much for the boat as myself or Mark or anybody else. Really did amazing work to get the boat where it is today, and she's been moving and dealing with a lot of stuff. So it's always an honor to see Lady Crispin here. Big time. It's an honor. So good to have you. All right, people. I'm going to be back. It's going to be me. You're stuck with me again tonight at 5:00. And tonight we're going to do a fun one, people. It's going to be a fun one. All right. So thanks again to everybody who this hat basically symbolizes, more than just A-Ayron, to be sure, but to all of the people that have come over from growing up in Scientology, and instantly people that have become crew that instantly defends and acts like family, and that's pretty hot stuff, man. It really is. They say you take the good with the bad, and the good has been kicking the ever-loving crap out of the bad. For real. It's been a hell of a trade-off, and one that not only would I do again, but I will continue to do. Capiche? I'm not done with this by a long shot. You guys are stupid too. For all the ones out there that really hate me, I mean, I'm a criminal. Why didn't you just try to bribe me, right? I mean, that would have been the better one. For future reference, man, if the person's a criminal or whatever, even if they're a former criminal, the better plan is bribing. I mean, I wouldn't have accepted the bribe. I probably would have just tricked you into getting caught for bribing me, but it still would have been way more fun. Don't you think? Is it me? It's them, isn't it? It's them. Anyway. All right, peeps. Tonight, 5:00 here on the lifeboat. Oh, and by the way, one other one, because somebody told me that we were talking about this and they got a kick out of it. They said, there's been speculation as to whether or not old DM's family is watching all of the stuff. Part of my gut says they probably got really tired of watching it because it's got to be depressing as hell for them. And I feel for them. They didn't do this. I really do. I feel for them. They didn't do this. But, I got an email from someone that said, you should just tell the family, if they want to reach out, you'll tell the guy how to survive. You know what? I'd love to talk to the family of DM. I really would. And I'll tell you something. There are a couple of go-to moves. Somebody asked me the other day, do you think there's anything he could do to survive? He's got a couple of they're bat crap crazy kind of things, but there's a couple of things he could do that guaranteed would protect him for the rest of his life. I'm not sure if you'd want to live that life, but because you were a criminal and have done time with real bad guys is why I wouldn't mess with you. But not everyone is smart. Well, thank you, Naomi. Here's the thing. The other thing that it comes down to is some people are blessed. There are a lot of people that go through life terrified of what will happen if the world gets a look in their closet. Right? Somebody cracks that closet and every skeleton in the entire world falls out. I don't have a closet door. Right? mean, right around the time we kicked up this little project we call the lifeboat, I took the door off that closet. It wasn't going to work. And I knew that. And when I told people in the beginning, I'm like, no one's going to listen to a guy that's been to prison. You know, how long before people start, screaming about the, what I've done and this and that? Lead with that. Come on out and tell people your past. Tell them what you've done. Tell them the things that you have done. I'm not ashamed of the things that I've done. I wasn't doing them. If you don't get that, you've never been addicted. But I'm not a guy that would walk into a bank and rob it. I'm not that guy, but I sure as hell did it. I'm not a guy that would punch somebody in the head for cash, but I did it, right? I'm not a guy that would go collect money, but I did it. I'm not a guy that would sell guns or buy guns or steal guns or do anything illegally with firearms, but I did it because I wasn't at the wheel. Now, I'm an extreme friggin' case of that, right? For you, maybe it's just how you talk to your significant other when you were under the influence, right? Maybe it's maybe the things that you did weren't as ugly as the things that I did, but they were ugly. One of the things about this disease that we have is the behavior that this stuff causes is ugly every single time. And it's a different kind of ugly for everybody. For me, it got to a level of ugly that fortunately, I think most people don't get there, right? My rock bottom was probably a little bit uglier than the next, but it's the same procedure every time. It's the brain still doing the same kind of things to us, fighting us, trying to make us fail. It's not going to happen, right? It's not. We've learned a very simple concept, and the simple concept is that if we are connected to one another, we will not remain in active addiction, because the opposite of addiction is connection. It is having things to do. The simplest illustration for this, for those of a specific age, I'm a recovering codependent. You're in the right place, Jobo. And codependency is real. If that's a concept that you're confused with here, imagine being addicted to a person instead of a drug. And very often being addicted to that person means that you will sacrifice your needs, your wants, your desires for that of the person that you're addicted to. And they've become very, very unhealthy, relationships. And quite often, the object of your, of the problem, the person that you're with, very often is an addict, and you become addicted to taking care of the person who is addicted. And it's a sad thing, and it is a cycle, because the people who get into this type of relationship get into one after another, after another, after another, which is tragic. But it's an absolute fact. And we've, in the 2 years that we've been doing this here on the lifeboat, I've talked to so many individuals who have said to me, well, I'm in kind of a codependent relationship with the person I'm with now, and they kind of break down the situation. And then I'll talk to them a little bit further, and they'll say, well, in my last boyfriend or my last girlfriend, and they will describe the exact same scenario. Names have changed, addresses, but it's the exact same scenario. They're going from one toxic relationship to another. And what tends to be the theory is that we struggle so hard to take care of ourselves, and we feel like we have zero control over our own lives, but we get good at exerting control over someone else's life. In other words, we may not be able to control what's going on, but by taking control or trying to help somebody else, we feel a measure of control. And everything that we do here, people, whether it's snorting cocaine, whether it's shooting heroin or drinking, everything that we do is for a measure of control. It is so that we feel like we have some kind of handle on this ridiculous world that we are trying to walk through, right? It's been joked about many times. People who are religious believe that the religious text that they get is their sort of handbook to get through life, but they certainly don't issue you one at birth, right? Here's how it works. Now, Dianetics, right? People believe that Dianetics was just that. It was the handbook for the human mind, and it was going to show you how to. But all of us are striving for that in everything that we do. We're trying to, to balance our life and make sense of it. And people do it a million different ways, right? We do it with hobbies, we do it with obsessions, we do it with people, we do it with drugs. Ideally, what we should be doing is trying to put together an ability to have the tools necessary so that when crap comes down the pike at you, or fantastic things, because don't get it messed up. Drug addicts don't do really well when things are good either, right? We don't do well when there's any kind of a spike in emotion in any way. We just want a baseline. We want a flat line, which is stoned, high, sedated, whatever it is that your drug of choice was. But to keep yourself on that, because as soon as we get off of that, we have to start looking at who we are and everything else. Sorry. Hello, Granny T. Well, everybody needs to figure out, I am also a 3-time cancer survivor. Well, good for you. God bless you, huh? That is not an easy thing to do. And, chemo and radiation are absolutely horrible. We deal with a lot of people here that have struggled through that. And it is a tough process. God bless you, Jobo. That's fantastic. To successfully beat that once is a miracle, but to do that 3 times, here's one for you. That is for you. You are a fighter. That is good stuff, man. It really is. Congratulations. Yankee Kyle, 35 years of sobriety. That, my friend, is a really long time. So, well done, Yankee Kyle. 35 damn years. The participation trophy, an official lifeboat participation trophy, going out today too. 35 years of sobriety for Yankee Kyle. Pretty good stuff right there. And I'm only 54 years old, young as hell. And to have done that 3 times at your age, that is absolutely incredible. It really is. Good for you. All right, everybody. I am going to go and feed Squirrel Nut Zipper, and then I'm going to get ready for the night show. And I've got some friends that are coming into town, family members that are coming into town as well. There's a little party that's going to be going on this weekend at a friend's place, so I'm going to be heading over there. Lady Spellbreaker says tomorrow my daughter Kayla would be 25, but she left the world from opiates laced with fentanyl at age 22 on 9/9/2020. You know what, Lady Spellbreaker, our hearts go out to you. It is an awful, awful epidemic that we're in. And you know what? People brave enough to talk about things like that make a difference. I can't imagine that suffering. I can't. I have no ability to wrap my brain around what you're going through. But I thank God that you found the lifeboat, because we've gotten so much out of having you here. We really have. You've been a gift to the boat and to so many people on it. There have just been so many people that have gotten so much out of what you've done for people here on the boat. Comments you've left, the video that we did together. So we really do feel just lucky as hell to have you here. But my thoughts and prayers are with you and yours during this time, because that's tougher than I can imagine, truthfully. Yeah, I can't imagine. All right, people, tonight, 5 o'clock, same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. I'll even have her here. Currently, she's hunting lizards. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. You were on the lifeboat. A-Ayron, growing up in Scientology. Thank you, Captain A-Ayron, the lifeboat. God bless, people.